All right, guys, Coach Jim here, Tower 26, 3 p.m. Monday. Doing something a little different this week, being that it's a recovery week. I thought it's a great opportunity to get our stretch expert involved, Coach at Tower 26, Coach Brian Melekian. He is the owner of StretchZone-Encinitas. So this is his passion, getting the body mobile and flexible. So we're going to use his expertise to add a little bit of fluidity into our body and open us up a little bit. So Brian, take it from here. It's all you, brother.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Can you hear me all right?
I hear you loud and clear.
Let's do it. Yeah, thanks, Jim. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to go through this session today because this is something I'm really passionate about, stretching. And so what Jim asked me to do was to take about 20 or 30 minutes and to work through a mobility session that you could use for a lot of different reasons, right? So this could be a warm up before a workout. It could be a cool down afterwards. It can be exactly what we're using it for today, which is its own standalone session where we're going to go through and just try to help the body recover after a long week. Stretching means a lot of different things, but what we're going to focus on today is long, sustained holds. We're going to hold our stretches for about 30 seconds each. All right, we're going to go through 10 different movements, and it's a protocol that's designed. It could be a 5-minute session if you need something just to warm up before a workout, or this can be a 30-minute session. This is a routine that I more or less do every single morning. So today we're going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to go through it. You don't need any implements. You don't need any equipment. You don't need anything other than some space, as you can see. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to start on the floor. We're going to start on the floor with knees to chest. So just go ahead and make sure you have plenty of room to stretch out. I like to begin this one by just really reaching and lengthening the spine. I usually spend about 10 seconds holding that. And then left leg first. Just go ahead and pull your knee back towards your chest. Again, we're going to hold each stretch 30 seconds. There'll be a few exceptions, but more or less that's the rule. When you hold your stretches, just try to think about relaxing the opposite side. Especially when we get into the second side of each stretch, I think you'll find that you feel the stretch in both sides. Good. Go ahead and extend it out and switch. Hold it there. Not only should you feel this in the right hip flexor, but you might be feeling it in the left as well. Ten more seconds here. And then I like to finish this one up by bringing my feet together and reaching back, holding this position for about 30 seconds. When you do that, really try to not only feel it in the groin, but also you should feel your glutes release behind you. And just try to focus on keeping that open. Ten more seconds. Good. Ease out of it. Now we're going to do, bring your feet to the ground, your knees bent, put your arms out in front of you, just to stabilize yourself. And we're going to do some windshield wipers. We're going to drop our knees all the way to the right. We're going to hold it there for about 10 seconds. Come up the middle and down to the left. Hold it for 10 seconds. If you're doing it right, you should feel it in your hip on the side that's dropping down. lower side. Back to the middle. Second side. Back to the middle. And one more time to each side. Really trying to focus on creating length. And middle and down. Okay. Bringing your legs back, your feet back to the ground. We're going to do a series of bridges here. We're going to come up and we're going to hold it for 10 seconds. Down slowly. Back up for 10 seconds. Down slowly. Back up for 10 seconds. I like to finish this one off with like a modified happy baby, just to roll out the spine. Just take 30 seconds here in this position. Now we're going to do what I call a laying pigeon. I'm not sure that's a term I just made up. We're going to start with your right leg, your left leg crossed over your right knee. You're going to go ahead and reach through. Grab your knee. Now it's important that it's your ankle or closer to your shin that's on your knee to start, and I'll explain why in a second. And very gradually pull back. And really, you should be feeling this in the glute and the hip to start. And we're going to hold this position for 30 seconds. Now, we're going to slowly slide so that our foot is now on top of our leg and pull back. What that does is it shifts the focus of the stretch from the glute and the hip more into the piriformis, which is the muscle that tends to get stuck when we spend our days sitting, looking at computers or driving or whatever we do. And we're going to hold it here for 30 seconds. Release, extend out, and we're going to switch sides. Same thing, slightly above your ankle. And pull back towards you. Gently. And hold this for 30 seconds. And slowly shift the focus to the foot, pulling back towards you and turning this into a piriformis stretch. Send it out. And in your own way, we're going to move on to all fours now. Okay. So now we're going to move into a pretty typical cat-cow, with the exception that we're going to do what's called the angry cat. We're going to come up and really round our backs. And in this position, I want you to think about creating space in your lower back. Inhale. You go into the cow position, and I really want you to think about getting a stretch in your upper back, lengthening your spine and separating your shoulder blades. Exhale. Really round out that back and create separation in your lower back. Inhale. Last one. On this last one, we're going to come out of it, and we're going to go into a modified down dog. But unlike a typical down dog, it's okay to have your knees bent, because what we're focused on here is cycling our calves and our feet just to open them up and get them ready to go for a run, to go for a ride, or maybe we're cooling down after one of those activities. But we're going to spend about 30 seconds here. It's always better to do these stretches in with no shoes on, so you can really get a stretch in the feet, because a pretty common problem we see is plantar fasciitis. Okay. From here, we're going to just take a step forward into the beginnings of our sumo squat. So that there's going to be 5 different positions in this sumo squat. You're going to start with your feet firm, or your hands firmly planted in front of you. And you're just going to kind of lean into it. You're going to have your knees resting on your elbows and just kind of lean into it. This is what I would call position 1. And we're going to go back in various degrees, all the way back until we're landing on our flat feet. So for right now, just hold this position. Really try to open up your hips. We're going to hold each position for about 20 seconds. Okay. Now we're going to go back about 10 degrees. And this might shift the emphasis a little more into your hips, a little less. We're just going to hold it there. Find the position that works for you. We're going to go back another 10 degrees. Now we're probably feeling this in our lower back, maybe in our hips and our glutes. We should have one more position in us until we hit our flat feet. Now we're going to go back one more position. And finally, we're going to end up on our flat feet. We're going to spend 30 seconds here. Now, maintaining the same angle of your knees and your hips, you're going to rock forward until your hands are on the ground. Come down so that your knees are on the ground, but in that same angle. And you're going to tuck your feet under you and take your left arm, put your hand in front of you, and your right arm underneath. Now we're working on our shoulder, our whole shoulder complex, and just hold this position. Find the position that really gives you that stretch in your rear delt. You might feel it in your front delt and your pec as well. We're going to switch sides, right hand forward, left hand underneath, and lean into it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shift all our weight. We're going to keep our hips planted, but we're going to shift our torso to the right. I want you to reach with that left hand as far as possible to really get a stretch, not only in the left delt into the lat, but even all the way down to the hip. And if you're doing it right, you might even feel it in your left groin. This is a good stretch to wake up the whole left side. We're going to hold this here for 30 seconds. Come out of it. We're going to come to the center. We're going to do the same thing here in the center. I really want you to think about pressing against the ground, keeping your arms straight. You should feel this in the hollow of your lats and even into the upper back. One of the things we overlook, especially when we're getting warmed up for a run or a ride, is our upper back. And then obviously we're going to shift to the left, extend that right arm long, feel that stretch, right tricep, right delt, right lat, all the way down into our QL and the right hip. Hold that there for 30 seconds. Okay. Come up slowly. Now we're going to shift Indian style here. And we're going to work on our neck. So we're going to do a progression of 3 movements here for the neck. We're going to take our head. We're going to keep our spine long and straight. We're going to look forward in a neutral position. And we're going to lean our right ear to our right shoulder. What we are not doing is trying to crack our neck or extend past a comfortable position. Where you should be feeling this here is in your sternocleidomastoid, which extends all the way from your skull down through your traps into your upper back. We're going to hold this for 20 seconds. Back to center now. And the same move to the right. As you hold it, you may feel it release and create more space. Come back to the center. For the second move, take your left hand and put it behind your back. And you're going to do the same move, taking your right ear to your right shoulder. By putting your arm behind your back, you've created a longer stretch. Come back to center. Right hand behind your back. And take your left ear to your left shoulder. Come back to center. Now, for the third portion of this, left arm behind you, right hand comes right here, almost to your left temple and by your ear. What we are not doing is trying to crack our neck. What we are doing is the same move we've been doing, but just creating a little more space. Everything we do is gentle and controlled. It's not violent and it's not cracking. Come back to neutral. Right hand behind your back. Left hand to your temple and ear. And gradually release your left ear to your left shoulder. Okay. Come back to center. All right, for the last move of our series is the hamstring stretch. Now, you're going to start with your legs straight out in front of you. What a lot of people enjoy doing is bending their knees so that they can grab their feet. That's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to take a full minute here in the hamstring stretch. During that minute, you're going to find space and distance that will be different from where you started. You're going to keep your legs straight without being locked. And as you do the move, and this is really important for triathletes that spend a lot of time in the arrow position, you are also going to feel this stretch here in your upper back. So begin in a position that's ambitious, but not painful. And just hold it. And I want you to think about the minute that you're going to spend here as in like a series of 10-second increments. And in each increment, just find more and more space. And we're going to hold this for a full minute. As you release, I want you to think about releasing your neck, your shoulders, your upper body, and essentially just crumpling into the stretch. But take your time. That's why this is such a slow and long movement. Feel the release in your quads that want to resist. and just release into the stretch. Gradually find more space. Twenty more seconds here. We're going to do one more. We're just going to do a butterfly stretch here. Feet together, bring them back. And again, there's no ego in stretching. Bring them back to a place where you can get a good stretch in your groin without needing to press down on your legs with your elbows. And what we're really trying to do is open up space all around the joint, not just see if we can win at the stretch. And we're just going to hold this here for 30 seconds. The reason that we do the hamstring stretch last or second to last is because you need to be reasonably warmed up before you get into that. When people have back pain, typically they don't have back pain. What they have is tight hamstrings, tight hips. So that's a really important stretch, but it's important to do it in the right order. So we'll hold this here. This stretch, and then I'll stop talking. But this stretch is really, really important, especially after a trainer ride, because we're locked into that channel on one plane of movement. And these muscles in particular tend to tighten up. And then we go and we sit down, we get ready for work, or we make breakfast, or we sit down for a conference call and they just lock up. So come out of this. This whole series can be used for whatever you want it to be used for. It can be used before a workout, after a workout. It can be used at night. It can be used in the morning when you wake up. Whatever you need, it can be lengthened or shortened. I hold the stretches for as long as a minute in the morning, but I've also used them. I've done 5-second stretches, more as a dynamic warm up for running. Because if you're anything like me, you probably go from like a Zoom call to running. So just please, no matter what you do something to warm up before you run or ride or swim, and something afterwards as well. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll share this with Jim so he can share it with everybody. Thank you very much.
Awesome work, Rye. So we'll put this on the YouTube channel. You guys can follow along at your leisure, but this is something we're gonna do every few weeks. So get used to this beautiful face in front of you guys, and it's gonna make us all better, more efficient, healthy athletes. So Brian, amazing work. Thanks, man. All right. See you guys tomorrow.